I feel I should have seen what Mr. Trump saw. Because I grew up in this blue-collar family, lived in a blue-collar neighborhood, but my family was in the aspirational working class or the aspirational middle class, and the society was moving from that aspiration to economic desperation, and I didn't see it. I spent too much time with wealthy people. I spent too much time in fancy pants places, and I started to get the confirmed biases of the rich, which infected my world. I think really only Mr. Trump and Bernie Sanders saw it. So for me, it was a big eye-opener. It was like an epiphany on that campaign that, wow, a lot of people in our society are being left out. And so that's why Trump saw the Brexit. Trump saw the opportunity with the blue-collar people. My fourth book I wrote was called The Blue-Collar President. That got everybody on the left crazy because they're like, this guy's like born with a golden toilet seat. He's obviously not blue-collar. And if you've ever seen Trump's apartment, if you think that Bellagio looks bad, Trump's apartment looks like Louis XIV smoked crystal meth and then decorated the apartment, right? I mean, never seen anything like this thing. So you're like, he's obviously not a blue-collar guy, right? But the point of the book was that he identified with and he gravitated blue-collar people to him. So I had a lot of fun on that campaign. And when he won, he put me on his transition team, which I was very honored to be. I was one of the executive committee members for his transition team, and then he named me the OPL director. But then Reince Priebus and Steve Bannon, they did the Washington two-step on me, and then I did the Washington two-step on them, and we all got blown out of the White House, and I'm here talking to you. When they blocked me from that first job, I did the stupidest thing ever. I let my pride and my ego get to me, and when that happens, your emotions go up and your intelligence goes down, and I started making some mistakes, some really serious mistakes. So when Priebus and Bannon blocked me, I called President Trump. I said, these are bad guys. You trust me, you're gonna wanna get rid of these guys someday. And he started to realize 6 months into his presidency that they were leaking all over the place and they were just really bad guys. He called me, he said, come in here and help me fix it. I said, okay, no problem. And then I knew over that period of time, because of the way Washington works, it would leak out and there would be a firefight and all this other stuff. And so of course there was. And but then I got there at 9:30 in the morning. I met with Steve Bannon and Reince. That was a testy meeting. And by 10 o'clock, I was the comms director reporting directly to the president. So that was going to eventually cause a problem for the chief of staff, whoever the next chief of staff was going to be. And then the president turned to me and said, well, what do you want to do for the press secretary? Spicer just quit. And I said, well, let's promote Sarah. So he agreed to do that. He liked that idea. And then he said to me, do the press conference today. So I said, okay, no problem. There's been some speculation in the press about me and Reince, so I just want to talk about that very quickly. And then it started going downhill after that, because over the weekend there was the crossfire of, Priebus and Bannon's buddies in the media that were trying to rip me up or, hit me on the fact that I was selling my company to China or all the nonsense that goes on in Washington. And so by that Monday, we were in a full-on battle. Game of Thrones, was the night watch. Okay, we were going off on each other. And then I made a mistake.
Well, the only thing I can tell you is there's two people in the White House, too, that I know wouldn't lie to me, you know what I mean? Come on, I can't tell you about it. I can't do that.
And so John fired me at the White House. You would think that that's a black and white situation, but it isn't. There was some gray there, and as I pointed out to people, I did something fireable, so I don't hold him responsible for my firing.
The President of the United States ran on an agenda, and he's in the process of attempting to execute that agenda. My role, any staffer's role, was to help him do that. But I believe in the press. I did have one of them tell me, probably 6-8 weeks after I was at the White House, that you were our worst nightmare.
Right, because you're stopping them from getting all those leaks. I hope you don't mind me sharing this, because you said it in my office. There were probably 1,000 or 1,200 articles that were written about you. Once they figured out that you were in a position to stop the leaks, they were rushing out stories to...
One of my staff people, I said, how many articles have been printed relative to something negative about me? And I was shocked. He said, well, about 1,000.
The White House experienced the ejection from the White House. Very, very tough in the beginning, but there was a big silver lining there. I was able to get back together with my wife, reconnect with my children, and we put our marriage back together. go back to my business. And so I sometimes tell people, it was a little bit like George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life. You know, I crashed the car on the bridge, I bumped my head, I'm in this alternative universe for 10 or 12 days, I'm blown to pieces, I'm like, oh my God, if I can just get back to my life. And so what ends up happening is when that happens to you, you have a greater appreciation for things that frankly you should have had a great appreciation for before you went through that disaster. So in some ways it's been very good.
Hey guys, Nick Nanton here, host and producer of In Case You Didn't Know. In case you didn't know, the full episode can be enjoyed right now on Amazon Prime, and I invite you to join me there. Also, if you liked this short clip, I'd love for you to leave a comment below and share it with your friends. See you on Amazon Prime. Take care.